and welcome to the program. I'm Chris Stafford, and thanks for joining me for Wisp Radio's Sport in Focus this week, in which we take a closer look at kitesurfing with the new world champion, Daniela Moroz. A sophomore at Campo Lindo High School near San Francisco, Daniela has been kitesurfing internationally for the past 3 years and recently beat the reigning world champion in China to snatch the title. It's a sport that's very exciting to watch, producing great images and becoming increasingly popular, although it's still in the shadows compared to mainstream sports. Apparently, all you need is a board and kite to harness the waves and the wind like sailing. So let's hear more about how to get started in kitesurfing and what it takes to become a world champion at the tender age of just 15. Daniela, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, I'm delighted because I've been following you and the sport of kitesurfing all summer really now, and hearing of your achievements. And now that when you won the World Championship, I mean, I was seriously impressed, because we should tell everybody at the start of this show, Daniela, that you're only 15, right? Or coming 16?
I am currently 15, yes. Which
is amazing. So an incredibly impressive career already in the few years that you've been going around the world, literally doing this amazing sport. So we want to hear your story. But before we start with you know, where it all began, a huge congratulations on winning the World Championships, because that was a big deal. You beat the Russian girl, the reigning world champion. I mean, how did that feel?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I guess I'd competed against her before, and knowing her skill set in the conditions we would be racing in at the Worlds, I was pretty nervous just knowing that. And yeah, I guess everything that I had done training over the summer and all my preparation, it just was really exciting to see it all pay off. So I guess that was the biggest part for me.
Yeah, it all came good at the right time, didn't it, in China, just a few weeks ago now. And you'd already had a very good season, Daniela, hadn't you? I mean, you've been winning already. You'd found your form. So when you went into those World Championships, did you feel that you were absolutely on the best form you could possibly be? How did you actually feel going into the big event?
Going in, I was just really excited. It was the biggest event I'd ever be going to, and probably the farthest I've traveled for an event. And so yeah, just going in, I was just really looking forward to the experience, not necessarily competing, but also just seeing all my friends that kite that are from all different parts of the world. And yeah, competing, I guess, was just part of the experience. And yeah, I guess just going in, I was really excited and just looking forward to getting some time on the water and just learning some new things on the race course and just practicing, trying to put everything together from how I had been training during the summer.
Well, of course, it lasted, 5 days? You were racing every day, weren't you? And you just got better and better. You had to chase the Russian girl for a few days, and then you hit your sweet spot, didn't you? And you were consistent then right to the end. Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, we were only able to have 3 days of racing out of the 6 scheduled days because the wind didn't quite cooperate. But yeah, out of the 3 days that we raced, I had one really good day, and the next day wasn't so good, and then I just kind of got mentally just recollected myself, and that last day just put everything into it because I wanted it really bad. So
I'll bet you did by then. You were really hungry. You knew you could do it, right, as you got towards the end of that. I think we should start, Daniela, with explaining a little bit about the sport, because I'm sure there are many listeners that think, well, I don't really know exactly what kite surfing is. I've heard of windsurfing and all of these other things that you can do on the water and dancing around the waves. And it's one of those sports that unless you've actually seen it and how exciting it can be, you probably don't quite understand. So go ahead and give us like kite surfing 101, Daniela, and what that is and how it applied to a competition.
Okay, so kitesurfing is a sport very similar to sailing, and it's the same idea of harnessing the power of the wind to propel yourself across the water. And in sailing, you have obviously a sail attached to a boat, and usually there's a few people, up to like several people on that boat. And in kitesurfing, we have a kite that is inflated, and it is attached to about 20-meter lines, which are attached to a steering bar, and you hold on to this steering bar, and you steer the kite, and you use the power of steering the kite to propel yourself across the water. And most people are riding a wakeboard style board or a surfboard, but what the racers use is a thing called a hydrofoil, which is it's a mini airplane, I guess is the best way to explain it. And it works much like a regular airplane, where if it gets going at a certain speed, it creates lift and it rises up. So in those pictures that you see of us racing, the boards aren't touching the water. They're actually a foot or so above the water. And what is on the bottom of that mast is the hydrofoil.
Yeah, and that really creates some speed, doesn't it? Which is, as you mentioned there at the World Championships in China recently, you really dependent. You couldn't race. If you don't have the wind, you can't race, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and it's very interesting to see that we can go so much faster as kiters. We can go so much faster than the sailboats in less wind, which is also, we're probably the fastest wind craft out there.
But watching you do this, Daniela, I mean, I don't have a head for heights, okay? So I'm sure there are people like me thinking, my goodness, look at the heights they get to. And, the speed you're going over the water, and you've got to obviously have strong shoulders as well to hold on to those bars for the time you do, for the speeds that you're going as well. So it's really an all-round athletic performance. And I have to say, by the way, looking at this a little bit closer, learning some of your jargon, you've got some fantastic expressions out there. Your chicken loop and your chicken running donkey dick, and you got all kinds of weird and wonderful expressions for the sport, and I can imagine the training to get, because you're still obviously as a teenager, you're still growing and you're getting stronger and stronger all the time. But it demands a certain physical strength and endurance, doesn't it? I mean, to go out there for how long would a race typically last?
So usually a single race lasts about 10 to 12 minutes, depending on the length of it. And the course we had set up at the Worlds was about 11 minutes, I want to say. And so a single race is about 2 laps around this course. And, in one day we do between 4 to 6 races. So you're out there for a long time.
Yeah, and once you're out there, you look like you're sailing you're surfing, I should say, pretty close together. I guess it depends on the angle of the photograph as well, but it looks close together. Is it? I mean, are there any times when you actually crash and you can't steer away from another competitor?
It definitely happens, and sometimes it happens more often that the kites tangle. And that gets kind of into a tricky situation. But, we, on the start, where everybody lines up on that starting line and tries to be there at 0, so you all cross the line, everybody gets super close because everybody's trying to get the best possible start. So, we all get really close, and accidents do happen. So that's just part of the excitement, I guess.
Okay, so it clearly is a high-risk sport to a certain extent, not as dangerous as some sports, but there is a risk involved, not only with getting tangled up, but, hitting the water, hitting an obstacle, hitting debris as well out there in the ocean too. I mean, when you look at the risks involved and does that give you adrenaline and excitement? I mean, you clearly have to be pretty brave to go out there and be competitive.
I think at this point, the sport has gotten a lot safer compared to how it used to be. And I guess at the high speeds that we're going, it may seem like there can be some pretty gnarly wipeouts, which definitely happens. But overall, I mean, if you know what you're doing and you're experienced, then there's not much that can go wrong.
What is it then that really excites you about this sport, Daniela? Because clearly you've got the talent for it, and you're going places already to be world champion at 15. What is it that gets you out, that really gets your adrenaline going? What is the thrill of kite surfing?
I guess it's just the speed of just moving across the water, and it feels like you're flying, and you're in the elements. You're by the water. And you've got like the wind, and just being able to harness all the elements and go at such high speeds, and just everything combined. It's just really a thrilling experience, and there's no feeling that can describe it. There's no words to describe the feelings unless you've experienced it.
Absolutely. The elation of it, I'm sure, when everything comes right. Now, I want to talk a little bit about how you got into the sport, because I know you're only 15, but you came from a family, your parents were windsurfers, so clearly being a California girl as well, you're always close to the water. So at what point did you say, okay, windsurfing's not for me, that's just for mum and dad, I want to do kite surfing? Where did you get that addiction?
So, my parents were both longtime windsurfers, and they actually met learning to windsurf at the Berkeley Marina in the San Francisco Bay. And so they were racing for a long time, and then they had me, and I was born in 2001, and both my parents were still windsurfing at the time. And so in about 2005, kiteboarding was just really developing, I guess, and my dad decided to try it, and he loved it, and he switched over to kiteboarding entirely, and my mom was still windsurfing, but once I was old enough to learn to either kite or windsurf, then I just chose kiteboarding. I'm not really sure why. I guess I think so many more people at that point were transferring to kiteboarding, and a lot of the windsurfers were also getting into kiteboarding. So I guess just the fact that that's what everybody was doing at the time played a role in that. But I guess just watching both of my parents just do it from the start was a big factor.
And now, what was it like to get started in kite surfing? Because if people Google kite surfing, and want to look into this after they listen to this program, Daniela, they'll think, well, how do I get started? What do I need? Is it an expensive sport? Do I need to be able to sail or swim? What are the basics they need to know?
I guess the basics are, the beauty of the sport is that anybody can do it. Anybody can get into it, can learn, and there's not much prior knowledge needed in order to get started, really. All you need is, a lot of the times, there are lessons offered from a professional instructor, and they'll provide everything down to the wetsuit, and they'll just start you, from scratch. They will teach you everything as if you start knowing nothing. So, I guess it's just pretty easy to get into, but it's the dedication of just putting that time in on the water and just practicing it every day. Maybe not every day, but as much as you can. that you'll just really develop the skill for it and become really good at it.
Now, what about equipment, though, Daniela? You said the wetsuit, obviously, then the board, the kite. What would that run at? Is that an expensive equipment to start with out?
Yes, it is pretty expensive. A brand new kite generally costs about $500 or so, and that would be complete with the bar. And then you've got your board, which is probably another $200 or $300. And then brand new wetsuits nowadays are about $400 or so. And then you've got your harness, that's probably another $200 or $300. So it's definitely not cheap, but
okay, you're looking
it's worth it.
Yeah, once you've set up, you're probably looking at like over $1,500 just to set up and go. And then, is there a membership then of a club, Daniela, or can you just go out onto the ocean and at places that are allocated for this, and go anywhere without paying a membership fee like you would to some sports?
Yeah, you can do it anywhere you want. Most of the times it's free. I haven't really heard of anywhere where you have to pay to go kiteboarding. But yeah, anywhere where there's wind and water, it's possible.
Right, okay. Free for all then. Just get your equipment, learn how to do it, and off you go. Simple as that. Now, I mentioned you're a California girl. You're a sophomore at Campo Lindo High School in Moraga right now, aren't you? So you've got to combine school and training. You're less than an hour. You train down near the Golden Gate Bridge, don't you? So you have a pretty good view.
Yes, I do. Oh, yeah. It's amazing. I'm very lucky.
Yeah, pretty nice landscape there to go out and train. So we want to hear about this because you said basically, anybody can have a go. They need to be able to swim, and swimming is an important part of your training. So tell us a little bit more about the training process for this sport, Daniela.
Okay, so I've always just loved water, and my parents could never keep me out of the water. So I learned to swim at a very young age, at like 1 or 2, and I started swimming competitively when I was about 8. And I guess I always just loved swimming and how my body feels in the water, and so that just kind of became my main point of training. And then I started kiteboarding much later when I was about 12. And so at that point, I'd already been swimming for a while and learning. I think that my strength coming from swimming definitely helped me in learning to kiteboard. And also the whole mental part of competing and having the discipline just to go to practice every day has helped me a lot when I was training for the World Championships and just training for kiting in general. And I swim every day after school, and I do occasional double workouts, which is when there's one practice in the morning at about 5:30 a.m. before school, and then you have a practice in the afternoon as well. So I do that twice a week. And then there's also Saturday mornings, and then every few weekends we have meets where we compete against other teams. And then for kiteboarding, swimming takes up most of my time, and I kind of think of it as my priority. But and kiteboarding is more of a hobby, I'd say. But I kiteboard almost every weekend, and occasionally I'll have a race in the San Francisco Bay during the week. And we have a series that runs from April through September. And every other Thursday we have a race. And so it's those Thursdays that I would take off from swim practice and head to the city and race.
Now, are you ambitious in the swimming? Is it something that you want to continue to do and be a competitor as a swimmer, Daniela? Or if you had a choice, would you like to switch to kite surfing? Is there something, could you make a living out of it? Because I know you've got some sponsors. Is the prize money enough to support you if you were to do just kite surfing, or you still want to carry on with the swimming and develop that?
At this point in time, you can't really make a living off of kite surfing, at least not racing. And so that's one of the reasons that I would definitely want to stick with swimming also and still keep developing in swimming, because I love working out every day in the pool, and I love swimming. So that's definitely not something I want to quit. And I can't get a college scholarship in kite surfing at this point because it's not an NCAA sport.
Mm-hmm.
And so swimming is, so I could also potentially get a scholarship in swimming and then still also just have kiting as a hobby.
Now, what sort of prize money is there in kite surfing at the moment then, Daniela? What would you have won being a world champion? It sounds like you should have won something apart from the trophy.
Yes. At the World Championships, I won 7,500 euros, which is about $8,325. And that was just like, it's still the biggest event, and it's a lot more prize money than I've gotten at other events. Most of the other international events, I get around $1,500 prize money for first place. And then second place usually gets about $1,000. So there's definitely some money in it, and I think there's a lot of potential for the sport, but right now it's just not possible to make a living off of it.
Right. Now, what about cross-training, apart from swimming and the kite surfing itself? Do you do any strength training for the upper body as well, Daniela?
Not really. I mean, my swimming workouts also include dryland, where we do like push-ups and sit-ups and core stuff and just brute strength. But other than that, I don't really do anything.
Now, what about injuries? Because you've got to have strong shoulders. As I said, strong arms, strong shoulders, strong back for this, as well as legs. Have you sustained any serious injuries already?
No, not any muscle-related injuries or any, like, overusage injuries yet, thankfully, knock on wood. But, yeah, I've definitely heard of people just overworking it and maybe pulling a muscle or something. But there's nothing that can go extremely wrong.
Okay, well, that's good to know. That's what people are going to want to know, right, if they're going to take this up. And just for those that are listening and don't know, and trying to get a picture in their mind of how this race, how the kite surfing works. When you're coming to the end of the race, how do you get back to shore? Do you have to harness the wind to get you back to the shore? How does you do? You use it to turn and bring you back to land.
Yes.
As easy as that. If you know how, that's probably where experience comes in, right? To guide you back to where you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of what they teach you when you're learning is just being able to stay upwind and go where you want to go. It's all just part of the learning process.
You make it sound so easy, Daniela. Just down the waves, go down the shore, and then turn in. And when you're finished, I'm going to watch it a little bit more closely, see what the tricks of the trade are. Now, going into California, it's already coming to the end of the year. What would your winter season be like for the sport? And then internationally, what are you looking forward to next year?
So this winter, every winter, my family spends Christmas and New Year's in Mexico. It's just like part of a family tradition that we like to do. So we go to Baja, and it's this little town called Los Barriles, and it's on the Ciudad Cortez side of Baja. And so I spend 2 weeks there as part of my school's winter break. Mm-hmm. And there we're just able to kite every day, basically live on the beach, and it's something that I look forward to all year. I just love the trip. And so that's like the main training part of winter for me. But other than that, it's really hard to go kiting just because the conditions aren't right during the winter here in California. But next month, it's going to be my next major event. It's going to be in Perth, Australia, which I'm super excited about. And so, yeah, that's going to be also, I guess, part of my winter now.
Perth is a fabulous place and will be wonderful kite surfing there. You'll absolutely love it. And what competition is that you're going to be competing in?
It's going to be the final stop of the Hydrofoil Pro Tour, which is a tour that a couple kiters have been organizing throughout the year. And there were 4 stops. The first one was in Mexico in March. The second one was here in San Francisco. The third one was in Mauritius, which is an island about 700 miles east of Madagascar. And then the final one will be Perth.
Okay, and you've done pretty well in those. You won the women's in a couple and got a second, didn't you? So pretty well overall in the women's category. Yeah, okay, we've got to keep up that form, Daniela. Do you have a coach for kite surfing?
Not an official coach. I have worked with Michael Gebhardt in the past, and he's a very talented and skilled kiter, and he's coached Olympic windsurfers, and he's very just good in the sport, and he's an incredible just teacher and mentor. So I've done a couple of clinics with him in the past. So I like to consider him as my coach, kind of, but he's not somebody that I guess I work with on a daily basis.
Okay, so you can train on your own by the sounds of things. And which are your distances swimming, Daniela?
I'm a long-distance freestyler, so my main events are the mile and the 1,000 and the 500.
All right,
yards.
Serious swimming, serious endurance. Fantastic. All right, well, we're looking forward to the Perth event and watching you there, Daniela, because I think this is very exciting. I mean, if you look already at the career you've had in the few short years you've been doing it, what would you say your 3 career highlights are?
It's hard to say. Just my entire career, I guess, has just been so exciting, and I'm really lucky to have been able to experience something like that. I really enjoyed being able to travel to so many different places and just see different people and how they live and different cultures. So I love the traveling aspect of it. I guess that has to be one highlight. Another highlight, definitely winning the World Championships a few weeks ago. That was just crazy, and I'm still kind of on a high from it. And then third, I guess, just the training and the process that I've worked through to get to where I am now. I can't really point to like 3 specific things, that just made it all amazing, but the entire just journey and experience of it has just been really incredible to experience, and I'm really lucky to have been able to experience something like that.
So what would you say then you most value about being involved at sport at this level, Daniela?
That's a tough one. I guess just do what you love and keep working at what you want to achieve until you achieve it, because anything is possible. And if you work towards something and you put your heart into it, you can totally do it.
Well, it sounds as if you're enjoying it and doing exactly what you love to do, swimming and kite surfing. Not a bad life. Do you have ambitions for the future for these 2 sports, and specifically, how they're going to fit into college life and what you'd like to do with that, Daniela? I mean, I'm sure at 15 you're starting to think about that.
Yeah, I've definitely started to think about college. I know I don't want to leave California. I love being by the water. So that's definitely something I can't live without. I guess I still definitely want to be kiting and swimming in college. I don't know if I still want to continue competing in swimming, but definitely in kiting. I'm not really sure how it's all going to fit in, but I'm just going to see how it goes, I guess, and just see where it all takes me. But I'm also hoping that they will put kiteboarding in the Olympics in 2020. And if that does happen, then that will definitely be a primary focus for me.
I bet it will. That would be a big goal, wouldn't it, to make it to the Olympics? And quite doable. I think with being a world champion already, you're certainly making the right start here, Daniela. And do you know what you want to do as a career already or not?
Oh, I have absolutely no idea.
I wondered if that was probably a little bit premature, that question. But, some people know. Some people do know. And
yeah, some people, a lot of the people at school, they already know what they want to do, but I'm just here like, oh my gosh, I have no idea.
I'm sure it will become obvious as you get to college and get through college, and you're going to have your swimming and your kite surfing in the meanwhile to keep you busy, yeah. I'm sure, especially if the Olympics in 2020 involves kite surfing. We can see Daniela Moroz there in Tokyo. We look forward to that. We'll be following you with great interest, Daniela, and good luck in Perth.
You.
Yeah, well, the very best of luck in Perth at that final round of the Hydrofoil Pro Tour. And we will keep in touch, and hopefully we'll catch up with you again down the track and see how the sport is going in kite surfing. So for now, thank you very much indeed for coming on the program. Congratulations on winning the World Championship.
Thank you.
And good luck for the next race.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
And you can find more information and resources about kite surfing by going to our website and following the link to this podcast. And whilst you're on the website, be sure to check out all the other global women's sports coverage that we do here at Wisp Sports. You can also join in the conversation on our social media channels. Just look for Wisp Sports. And you can reach us here to share your comments, questions and suggestions by emailing info@wispsports.com. Thanks for listening. Goodbye for now.